So I'm here to talk today about the very first inaugural Muskegon County Math Olympiad that I myself and my friend Bella Santiago orchestrated. But before that, here are some math problems on the board, and just by looking at them, do any of you think that you could maybe attempt them, kind of piece them out? Nobody? Anybody? Well, I can't, for sure. I've tried for a really long time. I can't do it. But believe it or not, these are questions that appeared on a 10th grade mathematics competition exam, which is really crazy to think because they look really complicated, right? So the first two problems are from an exam called the AMC, which stands for the American Mathematics Competition. And the last two are from something called the MMPC, which is the Michigan Math Prize Competition. Here's what they stand for. And as a 9th grader, I attempted both of these. On the first one, I got 5 questions right. On the second one, I got 9 questions right. And so, I took the exam, thought I did well. 2 weeks later, I got, participation certificates, but also letters saying that I didn't obviously qualify for higher levels of competition. And so my friends also, I recruited them to take the AMC and MMPC because it's cheaper that way, and also because it'd be nice to see how I fare with my classmates. But none of us in the end ended up qualifying for higher levels of competitions, and that really struck a chord with me because I'm from North Muskegon High School, which is one of the best high schools in terms of scoring on standardized testing. So I was a little confused why none of us were able to pass and to move on up, and that made me then delve deeper into math competitions as a whole and the playing field there. And so I wanted to then explore what the definition of a competition meant. If it's really to sift out the best and brightest students. My 9th grade self would have agreed with that definition as I was there taking a test to see if I could compete with my classmates. But then it made me think, if none of us passed, then maybe we should redefine what the word competition meant. And so this is me, there's me again, doing something called math counts, which, if you don't know, math counts is a middle school math competition in Muskegon County. There's 4 levels to it. It's an in-person B-style competition. It takes place every February at Muskegon Community College. And this past fall, I got news that my school would no longer have a math counts club. And that really upset me because math counts was a place where, I really found my love for math and competition. And at other clubs in my school were doing really well, like Alpine Club, French Club, Spanish Club. And I was concerned because math counts at my school is the only STEM-related activity, extracurricular activity. So it was concerning. And that's also where I met my friend Bella, and she had the same concerns as I did. And then we realized if math counts isn't there, we practically went 3 years without having some sort of extracurricular STEM activity throughout our whole high school career. And as you know, STEM, mathematics in general, is getting increasingly important in our increasingly technological world. And so, we were thinking and bouncing ideas off of each other, what could we do, seeing as though math counts just ended. And so we thought maybe, if competitions can't cater to and foster the people like Bella and I, who come from smaller schools where we didn't have the same opportunities as other students in other areas, that could do well on the AMC given their experience with more extracurricular opportunities to partake in STEM. We were thinking, why don't we just, create our own competition? And it was a crazy idea because who can just make up an Olympiad out of thin air? We didn't think we could do it. So we talked to our teacher, Mr. Jonathan Allen from North Muskegon High School. He used to be our algebra 2 teacher. And he was really receptive to the idea, and he gave us the contact information of Mrs. Kristen Frang, Mr. Frang's wife. And she really helped us, but I'm sure she thought we were crazy because we wanted to do an Olympiad in April, and at the time we contacted her, it was about January. So there was like, what, 4 months to prepare for this thing, and we really didn't know, but we made this, fancy poster, not understanding, and so we really tried to redefine what competition meant in lieu of the educational disparities in Muskegon County that we had unfortunately had to endure now that Math Council's gone, and now that we saw that we couldn't do well on other tests that were nationally normed. And so this is a statistic that really frightened me, that 2% of Muskegon County residents that acquire a bachelor's degree, only 2% acquire a bachelor's degree out of the 11.6% that do get a bachelor's degree. Only 2% is in computer-related sciences or mathematics or statistics. And so this is what we concocted in about 15 minutes before a meeting with her. We thought that it looked good. We'd have an individual test and then a break and then, a STEM speaker, to really inspire and sustain the idea of STEM in people's mind as a long-term career choice. And then we wanted a team math because, collaboration is everything. That's why we wanted an Olympiad instead of, paper-based competitions like the AMC or MMPC, so that people can really connect and meet each other. And so eventually, we sent out unsolicited donation requests to a bunch of businesses. We did a bunch of fundraisers. We tried to contact people, and surprisingly, everybody was receptive. Arconic donated stuff. A bunch of engineering consultant firms donated as well. And so in the end, we were able to raise about $1,000 for this Olympiad, and that covered like Scantrons, pencils, stuff like that, and also the ability to connect with other educators in Muskegon County to spread the word about the Olympiad. And so all in all, we had about 60 participants for the first year. We met at Muskegon Community College, much like Math Counts did. They were kind enough to donate their conference room, one of their bigger conference rooms, for free, which was really nice. And so here are just some pictures from the day. This is from the individual tests, some of the award ceremony pictures. This is Mrs. Coleman speaking right there. She talked about the importance of celebrating mathematics in our community. And this is what was interesting. So Mrs. Frank, she's right there. She got us in contact with GVSU professors who were willing to write both the individual test and the group round test, which was a big favor, and they did it on a voluntary basis. And so these professors, namely Mr. Javier Riviera and his wife Megan, he was one of the mentors slash coaches for the Guatemalan International math team. And then when he was in America, he then helped out with various math summer camps. And so he introduced this idea called a problem wall, in which students would collaborate, were free to collaborate with each other and form groups during the team round with each other and pick problems. I think it was out of 30, and collaborate with each other to solve it. And if they got the solution correct, they would write the name of the box that corresponded to the problem that they just solved. And the results were amazing. We specifically allocated prizes to encourage different mingling with different kinds of people from different grades, from different school districts. For example, we gave out a $10 prize for the group that had the most students from different districts, and the results were really amazing. There were freshmen from Urbana talking about their math skills, and they were teaming up with Vietnamese exchange students from West Michigan Christian, and just seeing them come together despite language barriers or cultural differences to solve problems was really amazing to see, and really get to see that Bella and I could help facilitate that for other students, because we knew we weren't alone, that other students really wanted the experience, even if they didn't fail at a national math competition like we did. And so this was these were some of the demographics of the participants that ended up coming. For grade level, mostly juniors. And this is what kind of upset me, not gonna lie, that this pie chart is, the sectors aren't even. Hopefully one day I can get it to the point where each sector is equal and we have equal representation from Mona Shores, and obviously North Muskegon is the bigger chunk. I force people to do this. So here's some more statistics. We really wanted to, focus on diversity and having it really be Muskegon inspired. So to do that, we prohibited graphing calculators, which, as you know, it facilitates higher scores for people who can afford $100 to have this graphing calculator. So we banned that. We gave everybody a calculator, a TI-30, so that nobody was left out there. We had the Olympiad happen on a morning so that students who had obligations after school could attend still. What else did we do? We made sure that the content on both the individual round and the team round didn't exceed Algebra 2, which, as you know, is a class that every brick and mortar school in our county offers. So there wasn't any pre-calculus or calculus classes that some schools don't have. And so this is a quick message from Bella. She's actually at MIT right now doing a program which she'll explain, but she got into this program because of things like the Olympiad.
Hi, I am Bella Santiago Lindsay. I'm the co-founder of the Muskegon Math Olympiad along with Namratha Nelapudi. I'm currently at MIT in my dorm room here in Boston. I'm presenting projects for 2 STEM courses that I've been taking this summer through MIT's online science, technology, and engineering community program. I've thoroughly enjoyed this program, and I like to credit the Olympiad for helping me get into the program, helping me stand out in the application process. This Olympiad this year has been such a joy to curate, and it's aided me so greatly in exploring the STEM field and its relation to student disadvantages in the Muskegon area. Furthermore, to help sustain the future of the Olympiad and spread the joy of STEM to countless other county students, rather than just myself, Namratha, and this year's participants, please contact us at muskegoncmo@gmail.com. Thank you.
So, Bella really helped, get students from other schools to participate, which really helped us get more, diversity and more representation. And actually, the people who ended up winning were freshmen and people you wouldn't expect because of the way we framed our Olympiad to be. We grouped prizes not based on who got the best score, but who was able to solve the most problems, per se, in their grade, given the time constraint. I think it was 35 minutes we said for the individual test, which was a way to not discourage students who thought that they could never compete against, seniors. I don't think I could ever, place if I was competing against seniors, so that was another thing we did. And at the end of the day, we really wanted our competition to be a way as to not rob students of the joy of problem solving, which is what we really found ourselves loving at Math Counts, at face-to-face immersive STEM opportunities like Math Counts. And so I hope that we ended up doing that at this Olympiad. Yeah, thank you.